Hello everybody, welcome to another edition of Game of the Week. We're back to doing our remote productions here for Game of the Week during the 2022 high school basketball season. We hope to get our truck out over the next couple of weeks, but for the next couple of weeks and next couple of games, we're going to be doing these remote productions just like we did last year. We're going to be live streaming some of these high school basketball games on Friday nights. So thank you again for joining us here in Boston City TV studios here on Game of the Week. Now tonight we have a matchup in the girls Boston North Division, the two top teams in the standings between the East Boston Jets and the Latin Academy Dragons. We'll start off with the visiting East Boston Jets, 4-3 coming into this game. They've had a nice start to the season, but lost a heartbreaker on Wednesday night. East Boston lost to the very good O'Brien Tigers 42-40, and the Jets actually had a chance late in the game to try to hit the game-tying or game-winning basket, but their shot was blocked at the buzzer, so they ended up losing a heartbreaker 42-40 over the O'Brien Tigers. But Coach Jason Harris, who's now, I believe, in his 9th season with East Boston, is very proud of the way his team has been playing this year, really appreciates how well his team plays together. And East Boston's led in their backcourt by Isabella Munez and also Juliana Troville. They're really their two best players. They're both good ball handlers. You know, Munez is more of a shooting guard, where Troville's more of the point guard, but they both handle the ball for the East Boston Jets. They're really the straw that stirs the drink of the East Boston Jets. They've had a nice start to the season. They're both averaging about 15 to 12 and 15 points per game respectively. So they're the two players we're going to look out for there tonight. Another update, too, for this East Boston Jets girls basketball team. A very experienced ball handler in her own right, Anivia Sofolrath, has been out the last couple of weeks. COVID protocols, doesn't mean she had it, but just COVID protocols had to stay safe. She hasn't been back since they had their restart to the BPS high school basketball season. She should be back tonight, so that'll help East Boston as well with the ball handling if Anivia is back tonight for the East Boston Jets. Meanwhile, for the home Latin Academy Lady Dragons, they're coming in at 3-1 on the season. They had a tough loss on Tuesday night against Boston Latin School, that one of those exam school rivalry games where the Latin Academy Dragons lost by about 15 to a very good Latin school team led by Amelia Ogilvie, who's been one of the top players in the city for any of the public schools so far this season. We actually saw her during BNBL over the summer. But Latin Academy bounced back. They played Tech Boston for the second time this season and won that game on Wednesday night, so they got back to their winning ways. They're now at 3-1. They're also led by their backcourt. Ruth Norton has been very good for them this season. She's really stepped up her game as a point guard, as a distributor, as a scorer. She's averaging about 15 points a game and about 10 assists, so she's really been good, this Latin Academy team. And also Lillian Crowley has been very good in the backcourt for the Dragons also. So those are the two players that are going to be the main contributors for the Dragons tonight. And also Nellie Conklin, who's been a varsity player, I believe, since her 8th grade season about 4 years ago. She's been a very strong contributor to this program for almost 5 seasons now. She's probably their third best player, best defensive player, Coach Dever believes, on the team, and possibly one of the best defensive players in the city. Jasmine Cox might have something to say about that over in O'Brien, but Nellie, a very good defensive player and solid offensive player as well. She scores about 8 to 10 points per game for Latin Academy on that side of the ball. So as I mentioned before, and I think most folks know who follow BPS did have a pause in the basketball season starting in early January. So, you know, some of the other high schools kind of kept going through the pandemic when the numbers rose up a little bit. All the Boston City League schools actually put a halt on their season for about 3 to 4 weeks, about 3 weeks actually, beginning of January, all through. A lot of teams restarted again last Friday. So you had about 3 weeks where these teams were off and were missing some games. So the restart happened end of last week, beginning of this week. So these teams are still kind of getting their legs under them. This is really where the season starts to get going here for the Boston City League basketball teams. To start things off here at Latin Academy, the Dragons control the opening tap, and that's Nellie Conklin going up for the layup to start things off for the Lady Dragons. She scores the first bucket for Latin Academy. Dragons in the all-white uniforms with the yellow trim. Meanwhile, East Boston in the all-blue uniforms with the yellow and white trim. As we mentioned before, Latin Academy coming off a good win over Tech Boston on Wednesday night. East Boston trying to recover from their 2-point heartbreaking loss to O'Brien on Wednesday. As we mentioned, both teams led by their backcourts. Neither team a great outside shooting team. And that's going to be a shot clock violation on the East Boston Jets. So that'll go back to Latin Academy. Latin Academy, the home squad here tonight. Neither team made the city playoffs last year, or rather the city championships last year in the pandemic-shortened season. So both trying to look to get back to those spots here this season. Good swing of the basketball there for Latin Academy. They feed it inside to Conklin again, and Nelly squeezes it home. So Nelly Conklin with the first 2 baskets of the game, coming on layups here in the early going. Nice deflection that time from Conklin. We mentioned her defensive prowess. Ball almost stolen away there at half court by Ruth Norton. You see Troville at the top of the key. Good swing. Jets looking for an open shot. There's Troville firing up a 3. Unable to get that one to go down. Nelly Conklin coming away with the rebound, and her pass is stolen away by Troville. Conklin was looking for Crowley back down the other end, but Troville comes up with the steal. Troville the bucket, unable to convert that layup. Rebound comes down to Kaylee Flaherty. Now back down the other end. Crowley comes away with the layup, and that's what Latin Academy does. They've really been getting out on the break and scoring layups off turnovers and off of defensive rebounds as well. That's been their offense for the majority of the beginning of this season. Almost another steal there for Nelly Conklin that'll stay with the East Boston Jets. We mentioned Juliana Troville and Isabella Munoz, really the top 2 players for East Boston. See Troville looking for an opening, gets the pass knocked away that time. Here comes Crowley, back down the other end, gets it to Norton. Ruth Norton scores off the window. So 4 straight buckets for Latin Academy to start things off here in the first quarter. Jumper short that time from East Boston. That'll go back to Latin Academy. Dragons off the cut as Conklin tries to go baseline. She gets fouled down on the baseline. Wide open underneath is Norton, and Ruth Norton converts off the window. A lot of Latin Academy Dragon players doing a good job cutting without the basketball in their half-court offense. Troville trying to dribble through traffic. It's stolen away there by Latin Academy. Back down the other end goes Crowley for the layup. Can't get it to go. Norton with the rebound, tries to get it to Nelly Conklin. And Latin Academy is going to have to reset. Good swing there for Latin Academy. Norton tries a runner. Can't get it to go. We got a foul on the inside, as that's going to be on Cindy Alfaro. And Coach Harris in East Boston wants a timeout here in the early goings of the first quarter. Latin Academy Dragons on top of the East Boston Jets. 10-0 here, as Latin Academy's done a nice job creating turnovers, getting points off of those turnovers, and also moving well without the basketball. You see the good swing of the ball from one side of the floor to the other for Latin Academy, and that's resulted in several layups. Every single basket they've gotten so far has been on a layup. You got Nelly Conklin with those 2 early layups. You also have Ruth Norton with 2 layups, and also Lillian Crowley with a layup too. So Latin Academy has really done what they've wanted to offensively to get those easy looks. Meanwhile, on the other end for East Boston, they've had a tough time finding openings on the offensive end. Any kind of open shots just haven't been there so far. So we'll see what Coach Harris and the Lady Jets can try to figure out here to try to create some easier offense, especially for their backcourt. We've seen Juliana Troville have some time with the basketball, but she's been swallowed up by the Latin Academy defense. Meanwhile, their other top player, Isabella Munoz, hasn't even taken a shot yet, I don't believe. So maybe Isabella is the one that needs to be freed up and is able to get a couple of open looks to kind of spread out the defense there for Latin Academy. East Boston Jets out of the timeout. Full court press here for the Latin Academy Dragons. Munoz now with it down the sideline. Troville. Shot clock winding down to 5 as East Boston needs to get a shot up here. Off the up fake, Munoz with the runner. Doesn't hit the rim, so that's going to be a shot clock violation. That's going to go back to the Lady Dragons. Latin Academy with a 10-0 start to this game. Nice play off the cut by Crowley, but it's knocked out of bounds by East Boston, so that'll stay with the Lady Dragons. Trying to feed it inside, and Ruth Norton comes away with the loose ball. Now it's stolen away by Munoz. Here comes Troville. Back down the other end. Jumper short that time. Latin Academy now getting out of the break quickly. Crowley back down the other end, and she can't finish the lefty layup. Ruth Norton comes away with the loose ball. And we got a foul inside the paint on East Boston. Substitution for the East Boston Jets as Cheryl Plates is coming in, or heading to the bench. Corner 3 from Ruth Norton off the mark that time. Troville comes away with the rebound for Eastie. Troville all the way to the bucket, and she can't get it to go. That was halfway down there for Troville. Back down the other end, Crowley gets her shot blocked the first time, then scores the layup the second time. Good effort there from Munoz, but Crowley stuck with it and was able to get that basket. She now has 4 points. So we got Crowley, Norton, and Conklin now all with 4 points. Here comes Crowley again, blocked again by Munoz. Norton with the runner, so Ruth Norton with her third field goal here in the first quarter. Latin Academy now on top, 14-0 over East Boston. Another steal. And Norton can't convert. It should be Latin Academy 14, East Boston 0 here in the first quarter between the Jets and Dragons. East Boston still looking for their first field goal. Off the backdoor cut from Troville. She tried to hand it off in the corner. Stolen away by Nellie Conklin. Dragons again pushing the ball up the floor. Nice cut there for Latin Academy. Converting underneath that time was Kaylee Flaherty, who was there to pick up the loose ball. So you had Ava Daly cutting to the basket. And then it was Flaherty who got the deflection and was able to convert underneath. So we've got 4 players who have scored so far here in the first quarter for Latin Academy. Dragons really sharing the basketball well. Nellie Conklin, corner jumper off the mark. Munoz back down the other end off the spin move. Can't get the runner to go. So Munoz with a nice drive there. She just couldn't knock it down. Troville had a similar play earlier going baseline. We see Troville going again to the basket, and she cannot convert off the window. Jets diving for the loose ball, but can't come up with it. Nice look inside there for Latin Academy. But they are unable to hit the basket. Crowley trying to convert. She can't get it to go. Ball knocked around, and here back comes the East Boston Jets. That goes out of bounds, and it'll stay with Eastie. Munoz back to Troville. Troville fires up a three, and the rebound comes down to Ava Daly. Here comes Nellie Conklin. Nice look inside to Crowley, who cannot convert. It's been all Latin Academy here in the first quarter. They're on top of East Boston 16-0. We'll see if the Jets can at least get that first basket of the quarter. Sometimes that first basket's the toughest one. They can get that one, then they start to come in bunches. So we'll see what happens here later on in the first quarter. Munoz tries for the three, can't get it to go, and that'll go back to Latin Academy. Crowley misses that jumper at the buzzer, so after the first quarter from Latin Academy High School in Dorchester, it's the Latin Academy Dragons leading the East Boston Jets 16-0. In this first quarter, and East Boston just having a tough time getting open looks. You know, they had a couple there later on in the quarter where they were able to find some openings, get some good shots off. They just weren't falling for East Boston. You had Troville a couple of times was going to the basket and just couldn't quite convert. And then also you had Isabella Munoz, their two top guards, just unable to convert some of those runners in closer shots to the rim. Those are going to go down for them at some point here in this game, too. The problem with them is defensively, or rather with the turnovers, that's creating easy offense for Latin Academy. You saw that throughout the first half. All of Latin Academy's baskets, they had 8 field goals in the first half. They were all layups because Latin Academy scored off of turnovers and moved the basketball really well around the perimeter and shared the basketball really well. So that's why they were able to get some easy buckets there in the first quarter. We'll see if East Boston is able to take care of the basketball a little bit better in that first half, and that will probably help actually their offense and defense in that second quarter. You see there in the huddle, that's Coach Dever in the maroon shirt right there. To his right is actually Greg Berry, who is a longtime coach in the city and also was the head girls basketball coach at New Mission High School years ago. It really has done a nice job in the city in the past, and Coach Dever wanted to make a point that he's very lucky to have Coach Greg Berry as an assistant this year for this Latin Academy team. And their defensive strategy, you know, Coach Dever mentioned him and Coach Berry really sharing a lot of ideas about how to play their defense and how to line things up. So always good to have a really good assistant coach on your staff. Always good to share the basketball well, too. There you see Crowley knocking down the jumper, but it was the Lady Dragons who pinged the ball around the perimeter for that open look. Troville getting trapped top of the corner. Good look there to Munoz, who couldn't hit the jumper. That's good offense, though, there by East Boston. They just weren't able to knock down the shot. Here comes Conklin. And that's going to go off of Conklin's leg and back to the East Boston Jets. Troville trying to dribble through traffic. Feeds it inside. There's the first bucket of the game for the East Boston Jets. Troville with a nice feed inside to Jennifer Delgado, the senior guard / forward for East Boston. So Delgado scores her first bucket. Eastie gets their first basket of the game. They're going to start coming in bunches here. As you see a turnover by Latin Academy. That's going to go back to the East Boston Jets. We'll see if Eastie can get a quick run in here to start the second quarter. Troville. 3 ball on the way and well off the mark that time for East Boston. That was Aniva Sofolrath, who is now back, as we mentioned. The Jets didn't have her for the last couple of weeks, but she's now back for Eastie. As you see, the ball stolen away from Munoz by Ruth Norton, and Norton converts that shot down the other end. So Ruth Norton now leading all scorers with 8 points. There for the Latin Academy Dragons. Nellie Conklin right behind her with 6. And Lillian Crowley with 4 points here tonight so far for Latin Academy. Another substitution here for the East Boston Jets. And that's going to be a violation on East Boston as Jennifer Delgado actually she just lost the handle of the ball there. That happens to the best of us. That's not the first time we've seen that. So turnover there for Eastie. That goes back to Latin Academy. Another nice swing there for the Dragons. Jumper well short that time from Allison Tracy. But that ball stolen away by Ruth Norton. Back to Latin Academy. Norton with a runner. Rattles that one home. Ruth Norton now in double digits with 10 points to lead all scorers. Munoz. Just can't get that one to fall. That was a really nice move by Munoz, but she just couldn't squeeze it home there for the East Boston Jets. Munoz comes away with the steal now for Eastie. Jets can force a couple of turnovers. That'll help create some easy buckets. Sofolrath, short on that jumper. Ruth Norton comes away with a rebound for Latin Academy. Quickly up to Crowley. Lillian Crowley with her 3rd bucket of the game. She's now got 6 points. 24-2 Latin Academy on top. That one goes off on Munoz, back to Latin Academy. Substitution for the Lady Dragons as Ava Daly comes back in. And Kaylee Flaherty unable to hang on to that pass. Munoz, good swing. Delgado now trapped at the top of the key there with it. Here comes Troville, looking for an opening. Troville finds some room in the paint, scoops, and the score. Count the hoop and the harm. Troville is going to get a free throw to try to complete the 3-point play. Nice looking move there from Juliana Troville, the junior guard for the East Boston Jets. Troville rattles home the free throw. Puts the Latin Academy lead down to 19 here midway through the second quarter. Nellie Conklin being guarded by Munoz. Conklin off the give and go. Conklin couldn't squeeze it home. Got her own rebound. Norton finds Flaherty. Elbow jumper off the back iron. Munoz comes away with the rebound for the Jets. That ball stolen away by Norton. Ruth Norton trying to go coast to coast. She can't convert. Nellie Conklin gets the offensive board and put back for Latin Academy. So I think we got a water break here, as we've seen that type of thing for during the pandemic. Can't quite tell if that is the half. Here from Latin Academy. I think it's just a water timeout right now for Latin Academy and East Boston. So Latin Academy with a 21-point lead over the East Boston Jets. Yeah, that was just a quick water timeout. So because these players all still have to wear their masks right now during this season, you know, the MIA has actually built in an extra water break for each team that's not part of the amount of allotted timeouts that the coaches have. It's an extra sort of timeout to let players get some water, get a breather. You can actually pull your mask off for a few seconds there to kind of get a breather. And it does get hot, as we all know. We've all been wearing masks. It does get hot with those things on. So out of the water timeout, East Boston with the basketball here, trailing by 21 to Latin Academy. Munoz off the up fake, tries a runner, can't get it to go. Munoz has had a lot of nice moves to the basket, just hasn't been able to convert. Norton now all the way down the other end. Converts there. Ruth Norton now with 12 points to lead all scorers in this one. We got a jump ball as Brandy Aguilar was tied up there out on the wing. And that will go back to Latin Academy as East Boston had the last possession. Good hustle there from Latin Academy, but Allison Tracy was unable to handle the high pass, so that'll go back to the East Boston Jets here in the second half. Troville fires up a three and buries it for East Boston. So Troville knocks one down from the perimeter for the three after converting the conventional three-point play just a few possessions ago. Meanwhile, Latin Academy still moving the ball really well. Troville comes away with a rebound. Trying to cut into this Latin Academy lead. Nice feed underneath. But the Jets had a tough time hanging on to the basketball. Now that's going to be a tie-up that'll stay with East Boston. Oh, excuse me, it's going to go back to Latin Academy. I thought Latin Academy got the last jump ball, but I could be wrong on that one. Ruth Norton back down the other end, trying to score off the window, and she was fouled on her way to the hoop. So Norton converts the first free throw. She'll have one more. Ruth Norton knocks down the second. 14 points now for Ruth Norton. Lead all scorers. Troville tries to feed it inside. Troville fires up another three and rattles that one home. Not sure if her foot was stepping on the line. We'll give her a three for the moment as Troville now with 9 points to lead the East Boston Jets. Meanwhile, Nellie Conklin back down the other end converts another layup. She's now in double digits with 10. Off the steal. Ruth Norton. Putback that time was not good by Allison Tracy. Allison Tracy was actually the one who scored that layup last time for Latin Academy. I made that mistake there because Nellie Conklin's actually on the bench. So Allison Tracy with that field goal on the previous possession for Latin Academy, as they now lead 32-11 over the East Boston Jets. Munoz with a runner. There you see it fall. Munoz with her first field goal here in the first half. We'll see if that gets her going. She's had a lot of nice moves to the basket here in the first half. That was the first time she was able to knock it down. Good job moving the basketball again for Latin Academy, but they were unable to convert. Brandy Aguilar with a rebound for East Boston. Now it's Torville. Troville tries to score off the window and does. Nice looking lefty layup there for Juliana Troville. She now has 11 points for the East Boston Jets. Jets are getting it going a little bit offensively here in the second quarter. Allison Tracy short on that jumper. Here comes Troville again. Fires up a three. Unable to convert, and that's going to do it for the first half here at Latin Academy High School, as the Latin Academy Dragons lead the East Boston Jets 32-15 here at the half. And you saw Latin Academy and how well they moved the basketball there in the first half, as Latin Academy was able to create a lot of turnovers, get some layups off of those turnovers, and then convert those turnovers into points. They also knocked down a couple of jumpers there in the second quarter. Now, East Boston really struggled in that first half offensively, but in the second half, they scored all their points in the second half. 15 points, or rather than the second quarter. 15 points in the second quarter. So they actually came close to the output of Latin Academy in the second quarter. Latin Academy scored 16 in both quarters. East Boston scored 15 in that second quarter. So if they can kind of keep doing what they're doing, getting those open looks and they knocked down some runners late in that second quarter, so that's something they're going to have to keep up here at the break. So we'll see if Coach Harris can kind of talk to his squad, say, hey, we've got some nice offensive sets going on. We've got some players going to the basket. Those shots are going to go down. We just have to make sure that we convert them when we get those easy opportunities. Not much you can say about Latin Academy because they're just pretty much doing everything right, moving the ball well. Everybody's scoring. They're sharing the basketball really well, and their defense has been really good. So it's been a good first half here from Latin Academy High School, folks. We're going to take a quick break. Then we'll come back with the third quarter here on Game of the Week. Make sure you stick around. to Latin Academy High School. We're about to start the third quarter here on Game of the Week. Latin Academy with the basketball, and again, moving the ball beautifully. They get an easy look there for Crowley, who had 8 points in the first half, now has 10 for the Latin Academy Dragons. East Boston now trailing by 19 after that bucket for Latin Academy. Now you see Crowley with the steal, finding Ruth Norton, and she converts off the window. So much more the same here to start the third quarter for Latin Academy, as Norton now has 16 points. And then you see Crowley with the steal, finding Conklin for the easy layup. Conklin now with 8 points. So you had 6 quick points there for Latin Academy, as they're now on top 38-15 over East Boston. That's not the start to the third quarter that the Jets wanted there, as Latin Academy, again, creating turnovers, moving the basketball really well. They just had 3 different players score there in the opening frame, opening minute there of the third quarter. So you saw Conklin score just now. Ruth Norton had an easy layup, and Crowley got things going with that layup to begin the third quarter. So again, forcing turnovers, but also moving the ball well. You see Latin Academy really moving the ball around to each player. Everybody's getting a touch, and that keeps everybody involved. So a really good job there in the third quarter to start things off in the third quarter here for Latin Academy. For East Boston, again, they got to take care of the basketball. If they can do that, their offensive sets have actually been pretty good. You saw Troville really get going in the second quarter. She had all of her 11 points in that second quarter. The East Boston had all of their 15 points in that second quarter. They were able to get some open looks, runners. Troville actually knocked down a couple of threes. So East Boston, once they kind of settled down and stopped turning the ball over, were able to create some offense. A 23-point lead here for Latin Academy. Quickly up the floor, they go to Ruth Norton, who scores again off the window. Ruth Norton now with 18 points here early in the third quarter. Another good swing on the basketball there for Latin Academy, and Allison Tracy knocks down the three. She's now got 5 points with the Lady Dragons. Deflection there, but East Boston was able to hang on. Troville trying that cross-court pass, and it's stolen away by Latin Academy. Quickly up to Ruth Norton for another layup. Ruth Norton now with 20 points so far in this one, mostly on layups and runners throughout this game. Norton trying for the steal. That's going to stay with East Boston. Troville, top of the key. Can't hit the three that time. Rebound comes down to Latin Academy's Ava Daly. Conklin trying to find Tracy there as Delgado commits the foul for East Boston. Conklin in the corner for Crowley. It's poked away there by Troville for East Boston. Poked away again, and now it's Ruth Norton back down the other end. We have a foul before the shot. on East Boston. Couldn't quite see. I think it was actually on Trollville who committed the reach in. Crowley short on the runner there. We'll see if East Boston can try to regain possession here. We got a jump ball that will go back to the East Boston Jets. Ruth Norton again getting the steal quickly up to Crowley. Crowley couldn't hit the layup that time. Norton comes away with the rebound. And then nobody was home on the pass to the corner, so that'll go back to East Boston. We saw the Jets struggle in the first quarter and then really pick it up in the second quarter. That's the third quarter right now is sort of mirroring that first quarter. They really haven't been able to create some easy baskets, some layups, and they've committed a good amount of turnovers here in the third quarter. Munoz almost gets the ball poked away now, back to Trollville. Trollville, fancy footwork, and she gets fouled on her way to the basket. Trollville will have 2 free throws. And she's unable to knock down the first. Trollville knocks down the second, so that's the first point of the third quarter here for East Boston, as they try to cut the lead down to 29 here against Latin Academy. Off the cut, Crowley can't convert. Gets her own offensive rebound, and that tie-up will keep it Latin Academy's basketball. That ball stolen away that time by Sofolrath, stolen right back by Nellie Conklin. Conklin trying for a runner, got deflected. Here comes Munoz now for East Boston. Isabella Munoz. Good swing. Sofolrath from the corner, can't get the shot to fall. Rebound to Crowley. Good lead pass up to Norton, and Ruth's able to convert the lefty lay-in. Ruth Norton now with 22 points for this Latin Academy Dragons team. That'll stay with East Boston. Lauren Dillon now in for the Latin Academy Dragons here late in the third quarter. Nice steal again by Ruth Norton. She's been all over the court tonight for Latin Academy. Norton quickly up to Dillon. Nice feed inside to Conklin, and Nellie Conklin is going to head to the line for 2 free throws. Really nice look that time from Lauren Dillon, the junior forward. But that's what Latin Academy's been doing that all game. Every time a player gives the ball up, they cut to the basket. And they've really done a nice job with these team fundamental plays on offense where there's constant movement, the ball's constantly moving, and that's why players are getting open looks. Conklin unable to hit the first free throw. And Conklin gets the second one to go. So Nellie Conklin with 9 points for Latin Academy. off the pull-up jumper. It's Munoz getting her second field goal of the game for the East Boston Jets. They're now with 18 points here. Just their first field goal, actually, of the second quarter. Corner jumper, no good that time from Kaylee Flaherty. And then I think Dillon converted that shot off the window, so she'll now be shooting for a three-point play. Dillon unable to convert the free throw. Goes out of bounds. That'll go back to East Boston. One of the things that Coach Dever really appreciates about this team this year, he actually runs with about 8 to 9 players who get a lot of playing time this year. That's why they've been pressing so far this year. That's why their defense has been a little bit better. They've been able to play a lot of players, and his starters don't get as tired from pressing as much, and it's really allowed him and assistant coach Greg Berry to do a lot of different things defensively, and that's why that's what you're seeing here tonight. Latin Academy creating a lot of turnovers for some easy baskets. Good job moving the basketball there for Latin Academy. Conklin couldn't convert the reverse lane. Here comes Troville. Going all the way to the rim. She can't finish the lefty lane. She'll get 2 free throws, though. And Troville can not knock down the first. No good on the second either, so Troville misses both free throws. She's now 2 for 5 from the free throw line, but Solfarath does come away with the offensive rebound, but Latin Academy creates another turnover. Norton trying to feed it inside to Nellie Conklin. Conklin steps in for a long 2, can't connect on that one. Rebound comes down to Eastie. Conklin with the steal. Finds Norton, back to Conklin. Nice give and go that time from Conklin to Norton, back to Conklin. One of the things about this Latin Academy team too is Conklin, Norton, Crowley, they've all been on this Latin Academy team together for a few years now, so there's a lot of cohesion, and they just know where each other is going to be on the floor. That's why you're seeing the offensive success that they've had. Another nice looking swing. Conklin scores off the window. Nellie Conklin now with 13 points. Loose ball underneath. East Boston unable to convert. Solfarath comes away with it. Tries for the jumper. Can't get it to go. That goes out of bounds, going to stay with the East Boston Jets. And I believe that's going to do it for the third quarter here at Latin Academy High School. Dragons in full command on top, 54-18. And that third quarter was very similar to what happened in the first quarter for East Boston. Eastie really had a tough time getting things going offensively in that first quarter. You saw a couple of plays in that third quarter where, you had Munoz, who had a really nice runner that she was able to knock down. Troville had a couple of moves to the basket, was unable to, she was 1 for 4 from the free throw line in that third quarter, but did get a couple of trips to the line nonetheless, which is good news for East Boston. But everything just very difficult for the Eastie offensively because, they're turning the ball over, which creates easy buckets for Latin Academy. That also helps Latin Academy set up their defense when when Latin Academy's getting easy baskets. When you get easy baskets, you're going to convert the majority of those baskets, which means the other team is not getting the ball and getting out in transition. You're able to score and then get back on defense and set up your defense. So that makes it harder for East Boston's offense as well. So anytime in basketball, when you're turning the ball over, your offense helps your defense helps your offense. That's complementary basketball, and that's what East Boston's having a tough time with because one mistake on one end has a chain reaction to a mistake on the other end. So we'll see if East Boston clean it up here a little bit in the second half. Eastie certainly has a very good backcourt. You see Juliana Troville is a very good player. She can really handle the ball. She's knocked down some threes. We'll see if she can knock down a few more free throws here in the fourth quarter. She's going to be getting to the line. And then Munoz has had a couple of nice moves. I'd like to see her get the ball a little bit too here in the fourth quarter because I think she can get some open looks and create some offense here for East Boston. That jumper short that time for the East Boston Jets. That was Ebeline Oliva, the sophomore forward who was unable to convert. Good swing there for the Dragons. Jumper is made by Kaylee Flaherty. Kaylee's second field goal. She now has 4 for the Dragons. Munoz looking for an opening, can't find it. And it's going to be a shot clock violation on the East Boston Jets. So you see both Troville and Munoz, having the ball at the top of the key, but there's not a lot going to the basket. It's all kind of side to side. So, when you watch Latin Academy here, as that ball was deflected by a nice defensive play there by Ebeline Oliva. Good cut there from Munoz. There you see it's going to the basket. Even though she wasn't able to get a layup, she drew some defense. Open look there for Troville. Troville unable to hit the shot, but that's good offense from East Boston. Troville driving to the bucket, can't convert. Rebound comes down to Latin Academy. Conklin quickly up the floor to Ruth Norton. How many times have we said that tonight? Norton with another field goal for the Dragons. Ruth Norton now with 30 points for the Latin Academy Dragons. Alfaro now trapped in the corner after she was unable to handle that high pass. And East Boston takes a timeout here midway through the fourth quarter. And like I said before, the Jets offensively just got to start trying to get to the basket. One of their players, the give and go is such a simple play in basketball, but it's so effective. If you have the basketball, you pass it to a teammate, cut to the basket. It's that simple. You give it up, you go to the basket, and that way you're getting action towards the rim, and that does a couple of things. One, it might possibly create an opening for you to get an open look. Number two, the defense has to look at you and actually take into consideration you're going to the basket, and they have to then follow you, which then could open things up for someone else on your team to either take a shot or have a lane to go to the rim as well. So East Boston, you give the ball up, go to the basket. I think it's that simple for this Eastie team because they have some playmakers. Clearly, Troville and Munoz are good playmakers. They can handle the ball. They can knock down some runners. We've seen Troville knock down some threes. So there's some offense there as they see Munoz trying to step into it long two, and she was unable to convert. Munoz has got a nice-looking jumper, though. I think she's, many games left here in the season. She's going to be putting up some points in some of these other games. Beautiful feed inside to Kaylee Flaherty, as Latin Academy continues to move the basketball well and get open looks here at their home gym in Dorchester. See if Munoz can get an opening here. And that's stolen away again by Ruth Norton. Norton off the steal. Scores the layup again. Ruth Norton with 32 points tonight for Latin Academy. That'll stay with East Boston. Excuse me, Ruth Norton has 26 points. I miscounted there. Bad arithmetic on my part. As you see, Ruth Norton, she'll probably get to 30 pretty soon. Is off of that steal. She scores another layup. That's 28 points now for Ruth Norton. So I was just, predicting what her final score was going to be, because she's going to probably get to 30 at some point. Now with 28 points. Wholesale substitutions now for Latin Academy. Latin Academy with a commanding lead, getting some of the younger players and inexperienced players in there. That's going to be a jump ball. That'll go back to the East Boston Jets. Latin Academy, after losing to a very good Latin school team on Tuesday, coming back with a win on Wednesday against Tech Boston. We'll pick up another win here tonight against the East Boston Jets. The Dragons will try to climb the power rankings. As if folks maybe do know or don't know, we just had the state football playoffs back in November, and there was a lot of talk about the power rankings and how it's different with the seeding and who makes it to the state tournament, who doesn't. Basketball is now doing the same thing. It's a statewide tournament where before you kind of play in your region through the first couple of rounds and then try to get to the end of your section, and then you wouldn't even play a team in a different section until the state semifinals. Now it's, if Latin Academy has to go on the road, they could have to go all the way out to Western Massachusetts, depending on how the seedings fall. So we'll see how these teams do throughout the rest of the season. Certainly it doesn't help that the BPS schools had to put a pause on their season because of the pandemic. They're going to have to make up a lot of games to try to build up more points to get into the state tournament. Meanwhile, for East Boston, they will drop to 4-4. We'll see how that affects their power rankings. The funny thing is that even though East Boston is going to lose tonight, because Latin Academy's power ranking is going to climb, that's going to help East Boston, because even though if you lose, your opponent's power ranking actually affects your power ranking as well. So any team you play, the better teams that you play, the better your power rankings are. And that time, it was Allison Tracy who wasn't able to keep her feet underneath. One thing about this Latin Academy team, too, they have four seniors. They have 5 seniors on their roster. Crowley, Norton, Conklin, Ava Daly, and Alexa Paremba, all experienced players. And then on top of that, they have 5 other players that are juniors. 4 other players that are juniors. So you have 5 seniors and 4 juniors on this varsity basketball team. So you have a lot of experience. You have players that are a little bit older. That certainly helps throughout the season. Even though last year, the way that the season had to be constructed because of the pandemic wasn't quite a good year for a young player to get any kind of development. So some of the younger players from last season who were freshmen and sophomores didn't quite get the development that you would hope for. I know Coach Harris was telling me that he's had a couple of players who he had hoped would play JV last year as either freshmen or sophomores, but because he didn't have enough players during the pandemic season to field an actual varsity team, he had to play some freshmen and sophomores on the varsity squad last year, and they didn't quite get the development that he had hoped they would have gotten as if they had played JV as a freshman or sophomore. So, I'm sure that's city league wide, statewide, a lot of, and not just basketball, a lot of different sports too. As a sophomore during 2021, it was really tough to get any kind of development as a player. Off the up fake, Munoz. Can't get that runner to go. Munoz tries for the putback, and she gets it to go. I think Munoz in future games is going to have a lot more scoring opportunities. She clearly handles the ball well. She can finish around the rim. As there you see a foul near the sideline as Jennifer Delgado commits the foul against Allison Tracy. Substitution for East Boston, Cindy Alfaro coming back in. And that is going to do it from Latin Academy High School. The Latin Academy Dragons defeat the East Boston Jets 64-20 here at Latin Academy High in Dorchester. Very good performance here from these Latin Academy Dragons, as you saw how well they moved the basketball and how well they were able to create turnovers and create easy looks for their team. And we'll see how they fare down the stretch of the season. Latin Academy's always been one of the top girls teams in the city with Fenway, O'Brien, and New Mission. We'll see if that continues here in 2022. That pause in the season, kind of really shuffled things around. Both coaches mentioned we sort of almost started the season over from scratch because players couldn't get into the school to get into the gym to run around. So their conditioning is still sort of getting back as well. So a lot's going to happen over the next couple of weeks. All these teams also have to fit a lot more games in too. So a lot can change over the next couple of weeks. So we'll see what happens here in late January and then early February before the city championships are later in February during February vacation. So there's still a decent amount of time, but teams do have to get going. Heck of a game tonight for Ruth Norton. We don't have her stats for her steals, but she had 28 points, most of those on just pure layups after getting steals and getting to the basket out in transition. She also had some nice runners as she drove into the paint, scored that way as well. Lillian Crowley also got out in transition a lot, 2 for Latin Academy. I believe she had 12 points for the Dragons, and then Nellie Conklin was in double digits as well for Latin Academy, scoring in a bunch of different ways too. So you see that sort of three-headed trifecta there for Latin Academy. They also have some other nice complementary pieces to their team too. So with the way they share the ball, they play good swarming defense. They don't have a ton of size, but they play good swarming defense. They could be a nice team to look out for in the postseason if they do in fact get there. Like I said, a lot of season to play. Meanwhile, for the East Boston Jets, you can see they got a nice backcourt. Juliana Troville, certainly a good player. She knocked down a couple of threes in the first half, struggled in the second half with free throws, but if she keeps going to the basket, she's going to get a lot of opportunities. You saw that there. And like I said before, Isabella Munoz, I think she's got a nice little game with her handle and her mid-range jumper. She also hit a couple of layups as well. So I think if those two players can get it going again, I think East Boston is going to be fine. They dropped to 4-4 on the season, but they've got plenty of games left as well. They're going to be a team that is going to try to be making a run for the state tournament and try to get into the state tournament also. So we'll see how the power rankings shake out, but like we said, a lot of season left to be played. But folks, thank you so much for joining us here tonight on Game of the Week. If you want to watch this game again, you can certainly go to our website, Go to boston.gov/cable, and you can go to the City of Boston's website. You go to the bottom of the screen, you can click on Game of the Week. That'll reroute you to our video library. All the games that we're going to be covering this season will be up there. Games from football season are there. Games from last basketball season are up there. So that's a good site to check out. You can also follow us on social media. First, you can go to our Facebook page. Go to facebook.com/GameOfTheWeekBoston. A lot of good links and pictures and different updates on what games we're going to be covering up on that site as well. So make sure you like us on Facebook and check out everything we have to offer there. And finally, you can follow us on Twitter @BostonCityTV. And if you want to tweet at us, ask us a question, anything, use the hashtag BostonGOW. Once again, Latin Academy improving to 4-1 on this young season. East Boston dropping to 4-4, but these two teams are going to have a lot of games in the future. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch these high school basketball teams as the season continues to unfold. Thank you so much, folks. Good luck with the snow tomorrow. We are getting a monster snowstorm, so everybody stay safe. Take breaks when you're shoveling. We'll see you next time here on Game of the Week. Have a good weekend, everybody.